Okay, guys, yes, we are rolling and going. I'm BATJAC J.W, and you are tuned in to my channel. Hopefully, it's your place to come when you want to look at old vintage stuff and just the cool and classic and just the ultimate awesome stuff you just don't see every day. All right, so good news, guys. If it is your desires to own a beautiful old Warhorse 1911 from the war days, such as World War One, World War Two, it's hard to say what they have. It's your time. It's go time. Yes, that's what we're talking about. The CMP has now gotten all kinds of 1911s, and I'm going to talk about a little bit some stuff about it and what I've seen so far working at the counters and gun counters and stuff like that. All right, so seeing some people already applying for the lottery thing and sending in and submitting their forms and having FFL shops, send over their copies of the FFL to the civilian marksmanship program to get a chance to win one of these beauties. Now, first of all, I've been very fortunate to have picked up a couple here and there, not saying for the cheapest of all prices, but I've been able to be one of the fortunate people to own a couple for some time now and for some years. In fact, I've owned my Remington Rand for a number of years. In fact, it's been one of my favorite 1911s for a long time. So where does this market leave us now? Now, for me, the value in these things have always been the historical standpoint to it. I've always loved the history on it. Never been about trying to make myself a millionaire overnight with selling one to somebody. That was never my cup of tea. So in this case, the market now, I believe everybody that is a gun enthusiast or somebody that loves history or just loves the 1911 in general, even if those that don't, still have to respect the history of the 1911. It was in our service from March 29th, 1911 to 1985. So the history on it is really cool. Now, where does this all leave us? For a long time, I was one of those people that was interested in owning one or multiple ones, but always was hindered back from the price tag on them. Always ran into that guy that had one, and he says, well, he wanted $3,000 for it. Well, let go of my left arm and my right arm. Let me hobble my way to the bank and see what's left in my account. Well, I have to foreclose my... Anyway, you see where I'm going with that. The price has always been up there, sky high. Well, guess what? Now that is all a game changer now, because CMP has now gotten an assortment of them, all kinds of them, different grades, service grade, rack grade, collector's grade. Ooh, I know everything is running rampant and crazy right now, but what you need to do is, I think, here's my strategy. Let the market settle. Let's see what now that all of this is getting started and going and everything, let everything kind of saturate. Everything is still fresh, and we're a dry sponge. It's been dry for a long time. Now that the water is flowing, let's see where it all goes and what it gets absorbed and what happens when now it's no longer something that's scarce and kind of held to that regard of, well, $3,000. Oh, okay, well, let me think about that for a bit. No. It might come down to it where, oh, now the market's got it, everybody's got one, and every shop is, yeah, that's what we're waiting for. So the question is, some people say, well, if I'm going to spend that kind of money on a 1911, wouldn't I want just something modern, souped up, per se, a modern take on an old classic, something with all the bells and whistles. But there is something cool about having an original one that was served in the United States military. And some of it was British Lend-Lease pistols. There's all kinds of them out there. So I'm kind of curious myself to see where the market goes. I'm curious to see how saturated it gets and what kind of prices we're looking at. Now, I did notice, this is all just speaking on my little, snooping around and playing my own little Morgan Freeman character in Seven and just kind of putting pieces together. I went on to the usual broker sites that I go to, the gun auctions, where I start salivating all over my computer. But I started looking around. And what did I find? I saw that a lot of these auctions that were selling these beautiful 1911s, now we're kind of just sitting there with nobody actually bidding on them. People that were wanting $2,000, $2,500, etc., were not really getting it for it. Even some that were as low as 17, which is, believe me, I remember when 1700, I would have jumped on that. But now it's sitting. Nobody's bidding on it. Nobody's even touching that buy now price tag at all. No, because we all know now the CMP's got them. And it's just a matter of time before we start seeing them in everybody's hands. So, you know, like I said, I've always been stuck with that guy that had one, and he was trying to become a millionaire overnight by selling it to me. That's all going to change, and I tell you, it's music to my ears. I can't believe it, because as a buyer myself and somebody that appreciates the history on it, and that's the value in it, not so much the collector's tag that people say, well, you know, $3,000 for mine because it's in good shape, and of course I bought it from somebody back in the 90s for $200. Yeah, we're not going to say that part. But anyway, I'm just curious. I'm really happy right now because I can't wait to see what the market does, and I can't wait to see a lot of us get our hands on them and for a decent price. Like I said, we got to wait and let's see where the market saturates on it. So the other question to me is, what is it going to do to replicas? All these companies that are producing what they call their rendition or replication or duplication of their variant of the 1911 and the classic style, like this Inland 1911 that I've heavily modified to my liking. If you kept up on my channel, you know that I've done all kinds of stuff to this thing to make it kind of look like the old 1911s that I love. Kind of that color almost matches, but I like that green, kind of ash gray parkerizing that is on them. Of course, the old classic reproduction by Colt is always nice too. Sought after that gun for 3 years, and finally got my hands on one. But like I said, these are my favorite 1911s when it comes to them. But what is it going to do to this market where companies like this that want to sell you this for an MSRP of near $800 for a replica for one that they produce today? Where's that game changing going to go when you can get a real one for around the same money? That's where it's going to get real interesting. I can't wait to see what the market does. So anyway, this is just a quick chat, a little bit of just rambling on and just kind of getting excited to see what the updates are on it and the process. So far, what everybody's been having to do is enter a lottery system. And if you get selected, they'll send you one. I know some people have already got one. If you do, awesome. Leave it in the comments below. Let us know what was your experience in obtaining one of those beauties from the CMP. All right. So that's so far what we know. We know the prices are a little. Some of the prices are up there. I'm not gonna lie. Right now, some of the prices are a little crazy, but just give it some time. Like I said, give it some time. But still, think about this: $1,000 is still better than some guy trying to get you for $3,000. So now all the ones that you see in those gun shows and people's collections, like I said, that have had them for many, many years, well, guess what? You probably should have sold them years ago, because now the market has changed and the whole game has changed. Almost kind of like when the hunter becomes the prey. My favorite. But anyway, like I said, it's going to saturate the market. I can't wait to see what happens, because I think we're going to be able to pick these babies up for a lot lesser price and get our hands on a piece of history and enjoy that piece of history that we all want. Yeah, that's right. I'm BATJAC J.W. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time on another video.